Welcome back. This week we leave the coastal rainforests of the Daintree and head inland to the Rocky Creek War Memorial, a donation-based bush camp deep in the heart of the Atherton Tablelands. Coming up this week, in a desperate attempt to cool off, we follow some random signs in the search for a green oasis in an otherwise dry landscape, and even find a hidden waterfall shower to beat the heat.
Nothing like blindly following tracks that have arrows next to them and hoping for the best. This would be such a great way for someone who was like a serial killer or something, just to get travelers to come right to them, really.
We check out Skybury Coffee, one of Australia's most interesting coffee producers who grow coffee beans under the shade of red papaya trees. And stumble into an Outback Rodeo to go full country and take in one of the most brutal sports I think I've ever seen. And surprisingly, it's not the bulls I feel sorry for in this one. If you're new here or even a repeat offender and like the weekly videos we're putting out, shoot us a like or a comment. We always love hearing from you guys. And without further ado, let's get into it.
So we're staying at Rocky Creek Memorial Free Camp, which is this really cool caravan free camping place that you can come to. There's a caretaker and everything, and it's free. I think they take donations for the upkeep of the memorial, but other than that, completely free and really safe and really nice place to stay. And behind it, there's this little track that we're following now, because we've heard and we've seen on wiki camps that there's a little swimming hole or creek that's meant to be pretty cool, and it's super dry and hot at camp. So we're like, if there's a swimming hole just behind it, then we want to go check it out, have a little dip and cool down. So, I mean, at the moment, we're walking through some of the driest grass I've seen in a long time. So I'll be pretty impressed if we pop out at a beautiful little swimming hole, and it'd be pretty rare amongst here anyway. So yeah, not sure we're going the right way, but we're following a track that should lead in the right direction, and hopefully we get there.
So I've pulled up Google Maps on my phone and typed in where we're looking to get to, and it's come up, which is awesome. You can see it here. So I think what we need to do is keep heading this way, and at some point we'll go straight left and then all the way down to reach what it looks like it's called Barney Springs. So we have seen a couple of arrows along the trees along the way, which I think are leading us to the right place. So as long as we come up here and there's an arrow turning left, then fingers crossed we'll get there.
Nothing like blindly following tracks that have arrows next to them and hoping for the best, which is exactly what we're doing now. And usually nice, kind souls have marked it, and those arrows are leading us to the right place. We've just come to a gate. There's an arrow on the other side, and the arrow's led all the way here. So yeah, one way or another, we're going to get to something that someone has marked really well. It may not be Barney's Creek or whatever Sophie called it, but I'm pretty excited or interested, intrigued to see what's at the other side of these arrows. This would be such a great way for someone who was like a serial killer or something, just to get travelers to come right to them, really. Just put a bunch of arrows and then people like us blindly follow them to wherever you want us to go. So hopefully this isn't to some secret Wolf Creek sitch, but there's another arrow now. All right, so the one place you need an arrow is this 1, 2, 3, 4 way intersection, because there's been an arrow everywhere where we haven't needed one. There's been arrows just along the path where there's nowhere else you can go other than that way. And now, where there's multiple options, I'm not seeing any arrows. So I think we're just gonna have to walk down one or more of these paths until we hit an arrow, and if we don't, come back and then hit one of the other paths. So it's amazing. I was singing the arrows' praises, and now when you need it, they're not there.
I gotta know who's in control of me, losing control.
I really hope I'm not standing where the creek or the spring used to be. The reviews I saw on Wiki Camps were only from a month ago, and they said there was water here, so fingers crossed it's further on the way.
I don't reckon this is dried up in a month, although it is pretty dry. So if this was once the creek, then hopefully this isn't the creek, because then we'll be standing in it. But it does worry you when you see something that looks like a riverbed this dry when you're looking for water.
Yeah. All right, let's keep walking. Try and find water.
Bring it back to me, bring it back to me, bring it back to me.
We found an arrow, so we are on the right track. It's a long way down this path though, past a dry river creek, so I don't know. It feels like someone was testing your resolve, how much you actually really wanted to find it. You have to go through a couple of dry riverbeds before you get to it, and if you can manage that, then your reward hopefully is a creek to swim in.
Go home, but I don't know where it is. Bring it back to me, bring it back to me, bring it back to me.
This little track here that someone's marked out with rocks, so I don't know who's done that, but it's kind of helped us know where to go. We've gotten to this massive fig tree here that you can quite literally walk through, and I don't know if you can hear that above me. It's just full of birds up there. So, oh, there's a spider. So this amazing jungle that you just didn't expect to be here, full of fig trees.
Yeah.
In the middle of nowhere, on like a dusty dirt highway. How cool.
Very impressive.
I'm really glad we came to explore this. And I love ferns and I love fig trees, so I'm in my element here.
Have you seen how deep these roots are? So you can see all the root system, but there's so many leaves that in some places it's pretty shallow, and other places your feet just sink all the way through. And you're right, there are spiders everywhere.
Literally walk through the driest scrubland. Literally, if you lit a match, the whole thing would go up. And we've got down here and suddenly it's massive fig trees and my favorite, ferns, and just running water. Absolutely insane. It's quite literally like going from a desert to an oasis. That's it. Desert to oasis. You literally, the driest thing ever, suddenly you kind of walk down into it, and suddenly there's these massive figs, awesome ferns, and just running water. It's like an entirely different world. This has exceeded my expectations. I just wonder, we're seeing a lot of little streams. I wonder if it culminates into somewhere you can actually swim, or we're just gonna have a really shallow bath, but well worth the walk. I did not expect to see this like this down here.
Barney Springs is a territory of the Yidinji First Nations people and was traditionally used as a meeting place for contact between various tribal groups. It's easy to see how this oasis in the dry landscape would have provided for the First Nations people in drier months when food and water were scarce.
You say Garnier because I'm worth it?
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Maybe she's born with it?
Yeah.
How is the temperature?
Really nice. Yeah, it's not cold at all. You can actually lie here the whole time. And you actually got a natural seat too. Perfect. How do you like that seat? Pretty good food.
Bit of a crone. I love this little like shower you have here. So I had more hair, I'd audition for like a Maybelline ad or something, but unfortunately, shaved head now. I still can't believe this place is here. So dry, and then this. Pretty cool. I feel pretty fresh now though. How slippery is it? These leaves quite literally just slide out from under you.
Yeah, and then you grab a rock and then the rock moves.
Every step you take is like, just like trying to walk on like ice. Insane. It's definitely easier coming down because you can sort of surf it down, whereas coming up, your feet are just like out from underneath you.
Like, how can you use your hand?
I'm just here to catch you if you fall.
Yeah. I've been looking for the easiest tree roots to hold on to. Oh. Yeah.
They just slide straight off.
Yeah.
I'm even flipping over trying to make a point.
Well, point made.
Point made.
Work hard, get dough. I can't get no sleep, please make my life more simple. Miles inside these shoes so I don't stomp, I tiptoe. Fell 1,000 times and still I roll no limp though. But I wouldn't trade a thing for what I have. I go hard, do what I need to make it last.
We go for swimming here?
Well, I don't know.
Super clear.
Yeah, you do, don't you?
Kind of do.
You might be going for an unintentional swim.
It's amazing how clear it is.
I was playing around, I was up like my tax. Living fast, over limit on the freeway, hope no cops pass. Had to dip off for a minute, yeah that's my bad. But I can't stay for too long, I gotta go. I grab my
There's
bag.
cracked open one of those cluster figs. Look how cool they look inside. And I had to wipe out quite a lot of ants off the outside, but so cool inside, all these little sort of seeds. They're actually quite firm inside.
Quite a lot like a normal fig.
Funny that,
You
isn't
can
it?
give it a go. Why don't you give it a go and try to eat it?
Okay.
Actually, don't. I don't want to make you ill.
No.
Cluster figs, though, that's what the plant was called.
Yeah.
So look it up. Maybe they're edible.
I'm going to have a look.
I think the birds were definitely eating them.
And the ants.
Work hard, get dough. I can't get no sleep, please make my life more simple. Miles inside these shoes, so they'll know I'm bad. They say the good die, you'll know I'm bad.
Well, I'll call that pretty damn successful. We found lots of little waterfalls, this amazing oasis in an otherwise very dry and sort of barren area. And yeah, even found a little waterfall for a swim. So that is my idea of a perfect explore, where your expectations are so far exceeded, so much cooler than you were hoping. And it's just something that, you know, you don't really ever hear about or anyone else really goes to. It's a real off the beaten track, hard thing to find, and they're the things we love the most. Like the big beautiful things that you see and you know, everyone goes to. Don't get me wrong, I love them, but finding a little swimming hole like that, or like a cool spot with all those ferns and those trees where no one goes and you really don't expect it, is my perfect spot.
It's much nicer exploring a place when there's no one else around.
I'm losing sleep here in LA, thinking about the good old days. I think I wanna hold you. I think I wanna hold you. I think I wanna hold you.
It's been interesting running the iMac off our batteries, so we're running it through the inverter, which is great. And yesterday we were in full sun all day, and we could pretty much use the computers and the inverter all day because it was just topping the batteries up at the same rate that it was going down. So we were chilling at about 11.7 all day on the amperage. Today, and it's amazing how big an impact it makes, but because there's intermittent clouds going across, it's just not getting the sun that it did yesterday. So using the inverter to power the iMac to get this video out or to edit this is just not working. And actually, when you were out there 5 minutes ago, it started beeping at me and warning me that we were getting low power to the inverter from the batteries. So unfortunately, I think we might have to move. It's been a good run here, but I think we might have to move to a powered site for a couple of days, just if we want to keep using all our devices and we can't guarantee the weather's going to be full sun. And that's the life we live. You want to do some work, you got to either be on a powered site, use the inverter, which means you need solar, which means you need sun. It's an interesting cycle being on the road. Travelers make it look really easy, but it is quite hard trying to get stuff done and rely on the weather and your whole setup. So yeah, it's not all glitz and glam, but we'll move, we'll get some power, adapt and overcome. Now to add even more weight to the hassles of moving to find power and moving every day, the iMac is already pretty cracked because we used to store it up on here and we used to clamp it down to the table, but going over corrugates on the road, bouncing, those almost painter's clamps, which fix in pretty tight, but if they bounce and rattle all the time, that sort of starts, well, apparently going down a little bit. So we found that we came back in one day and we had two of these on it and they'd both sort of rattled off and the iMac was on the floor. Now when we travel, as part of the packing up sequence, we've got to take the iMac to its new home for travel and we lay it down on the bed because it's pretty safe and protected there. To further protect it, we chuck 2 straps over it as well. iMac, safe and secure, and we found it hasn't moved even a centimetre from where we've strapped it down, so it's the perfect spot. So for anyone who is thinking about doing an iMac, don't do what we did the first time. Don't use painter's clips and so on unless you're going to really drill it into something so it can't move.
And I love that you keep your spear gun next to the bed. It's like extra protection for nighttime.
I mean, I know it looks a bit weird. If anyone's wondering why I keep my spear gun there, it's simply for the fact that it's so long that I can't really keep it anywhere else. So it sort of sits next to the bed at all times because, yeah, if there's nowhere else to put it. And I mean, like, I guess if anyone was to come and try and get into the van, I don't even think I could bloody load this thing in time for it to be used in any way, but maybe it'd be a little bit off-putting if you ran out.
Yeah.
Just with this in front of you. Anyway, yeah, not a weirdo. Just the only place I've found to store it right now is next to the bed and then down here under the straps for travel. Ready to go? Okay, so back in the car now. We're actually only heading 5 minutes down the road. So all that pack up to head 5 minutes down the road to Walkerman Caravan Park, which has power and space. So that's one way to spend a morning, packing up and moving, but I think it'll pay off dividends because this means I can edit late into the evenings and not have to worry about the fact that batteries are running out.
Work hard, get dough. I can't get no sleep, please make my life more simple. Miles inside these shoes so I don't stomp, I tiptoe. Fell 1,000 times and still I roll no limp though. But I wouldn't trade a thing for what I have. I go hard, do what I need to make it last. They say the good die young, I hope I'm bad. Cheers to my past, I'm doing
Okay,
great.
so we've set up at our new camp, power, everything's charging, and we can now edit late into the evening without worrying about the power dropping out, so that's all good. And we've got to go get a tyre now. So the whole time we've been on this trip, we've had the 4 tyres on here, 4 on the caravan, and 2 spares for the caravan on the back of the caravan. What we haven't had is a spare for this car. So we do have a spare tyre for the Ranger, but it's what came with it stock, and it's sort of sitting under the tray, which is kind of useless because on this there's pretty massive ridge grappler tyres with like something like 20-inch rims or something on them. So we're kind of bitten the bullet because we think going across the NT without a spare tyre is kind of asking for something bad to happen. I don't think it's going to be an issue. I don't think we're going to blow a tyre. These tyres are pretty sturdy, hard wearing. We've got tyre repair kits and all that sort of stuff.
If we buy it, we'll never need it, but if we don't have it, we'll blow it tomorrow.
That's exactly it. It's, you buy it and you just don't. Like, nothing goes wrong, it's fine. You don't buy it and you break down in the NT somewhere and the whole rim blows out and you're kind of stuck for a week. So we've invested, it's not cheap either, this is the thing. So we've ordered it, it was hard to get the tyre and the rim, costing us kind of in the realms of like 900 to 1,000 bucks.
Yeah.
So not a cheap thing, definitely a big hit to the travel budget, but it's one of those things where, like with the emergency GPS that we bought, it's the things that you buy and you hope you never need.
Yeah.
And if you don't need them, then yeah, it's a bit of a waste of money, but if you do need them and you don't have them, it's pretty catastrophic. So heading in now to get a spare, then we're going to put that on the tray, and then at least we're covered for the nice long drive. When I say nice drive, just the long drive across the NT, where there's very few petrol stations, rest stops, and people in general, really.
I reckon it'll fit in with the swag.
See, I forget how big these things are.
Huge, far out.
It looks a lot bigger than when it's on, eh?
Yeah. Do you need a hand?
It's the way that
You said you wanted a gym workout.
I wanted a gym workout, I want straight on the back. just not seeing it fitting in right now. Put it in like that for now, and then I'll readjust when we're back at camp because we're going to have to do a big shift around.
With our new tyre jammed in the tray, we are off to our next stop, Scarberry Coffee, one of Australia's most interesting and oldest running coffee farms. Just outside Mareeba, at the northern end of the Atherton Tablelands, Scarberry Plantation covers 470 acres. Growing both coffee and red papaya, they produce around 40 tonnes of green coffee per year, and over 2 million kilos of red papaya. Interestingly, the papaya grows in amongst the coffee beans, providing shade and helping to create the ideal climate for growing Arabica coffee. Personally, I love the dual nature of this farm and the sustainable aspects of this style of farming. Plus, the coffee is pretty amazing too.
I'm feeling high when I'm low. I need it more when you're close to me, close to me. I'm feeling high when I'm low. I need it more when you're close to me. Oh yeah, yeah,
Ready to go?
Yeah.
Cool. So we are heading to, and I want to say, people have said it's a rodeo, but I know they also don't like that. Apparently it's bull riding, which is different from a rodeo. I don't know the intricacies of it, but yeah, we kind of complete by accident found out that there's one on, and it's a big event in the town. It was actually delayed because of COVID. And so yeah, it's a perfect timing for us. So we thought, why not? We're in the country, go check out some bull riding. I have no idea what to expect, but I know it's sponsored by Great Northern, so at least there should be some decent beers there. What I've gathered, it's some nutcases jumping on the back of a bull and holding on for as long as they can and just getting thrown around and yeah, trying not to get hurt. So it's got to be pretty entertaining.
This is my rodeo ready outfit. Denim, boots, shirt. Tick.
Now, you can't get much more country than this. A good old ute competition with some of the biggest rhubards I've ever seen. Special mention to the Roo Undertaker for the Mad Max vibes it was given off.
Because we're currently deciding what to get for dinner. We just don't want to see the size of the foot long sausage. It's a foot long. Hopefully it's my feet, because I've got big feet, but what you're saying?
Your monstrous feet. Your bloody big feet.
After completing my calculations around how long a foot-long German sausage would be, we took our seats in the stands, fully stocked with beers, kebabs and hot dogs, and ready for the main event. Now here is the basics of what I took away from bull riding. The rider comes out, holds on for dear life while the bull goes absolutely ballistic, get it, ballistic, and when the rider falls off, the rodeo clowns, these guys, have the job of distracting the bull while the rider rolls to safety, hopefully. I believe that the amount of time the rider spends on the bull is also important, but not getting stomped on comes in a close second. I honestly thought I would feel sorry for the bulls in this event, but I have to say, the guys crazy enough to try and ride them definitely come off worse in this sport. We counted at least 4 people stretch it off after their rides. Not convinced? Well, I'll let you be the judge. Check this out.
Join us next time in what's going to be our final Queensland video before we go inland and make our way across to the NT. In this video, we're going to hit up 2 waterfalls. The first, Insta-famous Milla Falls. And yes, it's as pretty as a picture in real life too.
Hard to fade away.
Then we set off to hike to the top of Wyndon Falls, where we brave the freezing waters and dust the cobwebs right off, all the while fighting the current which wants to pull you over the edge and down into the valley below. If you've gotten this far, thank you. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next week. So this just still blows my mind that you can drive through a bottle shop. In England, we don't have this, or at least we didn't when I lived there, and I'm pretty sure they still don't. And there is just alcohol all around me. I don't know, Australians, I mean, it's brilliant because you don't have to get out of your car, but it's also weird. I don't know, maybe it's just me and I'm not used to it, but genius. What did you just say?
Well, I appreciate we're in regional town. I asked him if he could recommend any Prosecco's. Halfway through asking him the question, I realised the guy's got a bloody mohawk with a mullet shaved into it. So mohawk to mullet, if you can imagine that. And you
asked him to recommend a Prosecco.
I said, can you recommend any Prosecco's without a hint of irony? And so he said, do you want it to be cold or warm? And he took me to the fridge, and there was 2 in there that were cold. So I picked those, and then he said, yeah, no, recommending things is a hard thing, eh? Because I like the new sarsaparillas Bundaberg, and other people don't like that, so I don't recommend stuff. So anyway, that was the extent of my my shopping experience here in Maribra, and I've walked away with not even a Prosecco, a Chardonnay Pinot Noir. So, you know,